Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for today's video because we're going to be talking about books, and I love books. I love reading them. I love talking about them, and I especially love buying them to pile up in my room. Today I'm going to be talking about 3 books that I read recently and really enjoyed, and I even rated them 5 stars on Goodreads, which is quite rare for me. In fact, I haven't given out this many 5 stars on Goodreads in a very long time. Also, if you have a Goodreads account, please put them in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to follow you guys on there as well, because I love to see what people are reading. I think you can tell a lot about a person by what kind of books they read. Okay, so let's just dive right into the video. So the very first book I want to talk about is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. So I wish I had the physical copy so I could just, like hold it up. So I could just, hold it up like, okay, love this book. But anyway, I don't have the physical copy because I read the ebook version on my Kindle. Even if you've never read this book, I'm sure you've heard of this book because it's a very popular book. There's been lots of adaptations, like there's been a film, and I think the more recent series on Hulu. So the book was first published in 1985, but it's still just as relevant today as it was when it was first published. I think the main themes in the book are like religion, gender equality, politics, individual freedom, fertility, all sorts of things. So it's a very interesting read. So let me tell you guys a little bit about the book without giving away too many spoilers. So basically we have our protagonist. Her name is Offred. So I know Offred doesn't sound like a conventional name, but I'll explain in a minute why her name is Offred. So basically, she belongs to Commander Fred. Because Offred is a fertile woman, she is assigned to this commander guy, okay? This Fred guy. And she has to try and give him a baby, basically. So I know it already sounds super messed up, which it is. So basically she lives in a totalitarian society, which was once United States of America, but it's now called the Republic of Gilead. Basically, if you're a woman in this book, you're not gonna have a good time. While there were some parts that made me really uncomfortable, I think it's really important to read about things like this because they say the truth is stranger than fiction, and I'm sure that some version of this has happened to women in the past or continues to happen. So yeah, if you've never read this book, I highly recommend it. Please do check it out and let me know what you think. So the next book I want to talk about today is called The Unfair Advantage by Ash Ali and Hassan Kuba. Again, I don't have the physical copy because I read the ebook. So this book is very special to me because it's the first ever self-help book that I've rated 5 stars on Goodreads. I really have a bone to pick with self-help books. I'm not too fond of them. Okay, so let me just start by explaining why I don't like self-help books, okay? I feel that most self-help books, they don't really take into account external factors like nepotism, generational wealth, race, privilege, that sort of thing. I think self-help books, they focus too much on individual actions, which, it makes sense because what you do in your daily life, ultimately determines your success in life. But at the same time, I think it's still important to take into account things like, are your parents millionaires? Are you upper middle class? Are you white? Did you go to a world-renowned university? That sort of thing, I think, really plays into your chances of success as well, which most self-help books, I think, don't really acknowledge. Which is why I really appreciate this book, because this book literally starts by saying we all have an unfair advantage, right? So this book has its own unique framework called the Miles framework. So M stands for money, I stands for intelligence and insight, L stands for luck and location, E stands for education and expertise, and S stands for status. So I'm guessing just by hearing the name, you can already guess what each of these things mean. Using this framework, you can determine what is your unfair advantage. So if you were born in a wealthy family with a lot of connections to successful people, your unfair advantages would be money and status. So this book is really motivational in the sense that even if you think you have absolutely no unfair advantages, you do have one, you just haven't discovered it yet, and how to use that advantage to your advantage. It motivates you, but at the same time it keeps things realistic, which I really appreciate, and I really cannot recommend this book enough. Alright, so the next book I want to talk about is The Little Girl Who Was Too Fond of Matches by Gaten Saucy. I'm so sorry if I'm not saying the name right. But anyway, I have the physical copy here. Finally, like, hold it up to the camera like a proper booktuber. I love this book because it has the most insane plot ever. So let me tell you a little bit about the book without spoiling it too much. So basically, a pair of siblings, they're raised in the wild by their father, who brainwashes them into believing that he's God. So one day they wake up to find that their father passed away, and they're freaking out. They don't know what to do because, you know, they've been raised like away from society. They have no concept of community, society. They have no one to go to, and they're just kids, you know. And God, well, they believe that their father was God, right? So they think God just passed away. So I mean, just imagine, like, what would you do? What would you have done in that situation? That's not even the craziest part of the book. All that stuff happens like right at the start of the book, so you can only imagine like what other crazy stuff goes on in the book. Also, you might be wondering, why is the book titled The Little Girl Who Was Too Fond of Matches, and by the end of the book you'll know exactly why it's called that. And the reason for that is also super effed up, so just, you know, brace yourselves. So, the story is told from the protagonist's point of view, and like I said, the protagonist is a child and, you know, very disoriented. They don't have a very strong grasp on the conventions of society. So a lot of the time, there's a lot of meandering. It takes a while to describe certain things because they don't know the word for that thing. For example, they will go on and on describing this very weird furniture thing, and you're just thinking, what the hell is that? And then suddenly it clicks, like, oh, that's a chair. They just didn't know the word for chair. I think that just goes to show like how sheltered they were from society, like how different their lives were. I do have to say that this book is a little graphic at times. There's definitely, I don't know if I can say this on YouTube. Okay, there's definitely a little bit of like incest going on in the book. So yeah, if that's not your thing, well, I don't know whose thing it would be. But anyway, if you really don't want to read about stuff like that, yeah, just skip this book. Read the first two books I mentioned, but don't read this one. So yeah, these are the 3 books that I read recently, and I really enjoyed them, and I gave them 5 stars on Goodreads. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and share. It means a lot to me. And if you enjoy this type of content, please do let me know so I can make more videos like this in the future. That's all for now. Thanks so much for watching this all the way through, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!